Coach Teresa Ford here, and this is the Guiding You Home podcast. This is a thought-provoking and often humorous approach to moving you closer to the only one who can genuinely help you live a life of abundance and prosperity. Sound good? Yeah, it's you that needs to go within so you can sit in the driver's seat of your life, co-creating with God. So make room for more light and knowledge. As you continue to listen, you will discover elements of how to lead with your inner light, how to act on your specific promptings, and how to follow your spiritual intuition so you can fulfill the measure of your creation. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Hello, Angel. I'm so excited that you're here on Guiding You Home, building the confidence to go within. You've written a book. You want to introduce yourself a little bit and how your book came to be?
Sure. My name is Angel Lynn. I'm from St. George, Utah. I was born and raised there. And I was doing a very St. George, Utah life. I was raised in the predominant religion of Utah and had always followed all of those teachings, which includes to get married and have a family. That's the top priority. And so I paused my career. I was a late bloomer in that culture. Most people get married around 18 to 21. Mm-hmm. And I was an old maid. They considered me an old maid at 25. But what
not 25.
What I had done to fill my time was go to school. And so I studied social work and was really wanting to move in that direction. But then I felt, and I only later recognized this, that it was through guilt and shame that I needed to get married when there was an opportunity. And so I married someone who showed interest in me. I really did not know about romantic love, but it was dutiful. And it was like, there's my ticket to heaven. And so we got married and started having children. And I did all the things. I had 5 sons in 8 years. And I was a homeschool mom. And I stayed at home. I was not supposed to work, really. That was frowned upon. When I was little, that was really a strong teaching of the church. And so I was doing all these things, and my husband was very religious as well. So he served as a clergyman in that religion. And then one day, after 14 years of marriage, I got a phone call. There was a warrant out for his arrest.
Oh, surprise.
so not the direction I thought.
Didn't see that coming.
I totally did not have any idea. And it was in that moment, which is why I really was drawn to your podcast theme, because this is the moment I came home to myself. I walked into my bedroom. You know, the question in my mind was, what do I do now? What do I do with this information? What are we going to do? That was just swirling in my mind. And I walked into my room and I had a bookshelf, and it was full of church published books, everything from scriptures to magazines to church manuals. And I remember just scanning it and thinking, I know this material so well because I've taught it. Yeah. I've studied it daily. I can't think of one chapter or verse that says what to do when there's a warrant out for your husband's death. So it was just like this quick index search in my mind and like, nope, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Literally, I just kind of withdrew into my closet and I stood there for a moment. And that's when I went inward and upward for the first time. What I call that is I went into me and I thought, okay, if I can't trust and I don't really know this person that I've been married to, and we've created a home, a family, and life with, and I just found out things about him that have been hidden for a long time.
Yeah.
And so if I don't know him, why would I just reach out and trust other mortals? I realized in that moment I had been outsourcing my power my entire life to other people to tell me what to do, how to do, what I needed to do, what I should do. And I had just become this marionette puppet of what everyone else thought was important.
I think that is such an important topic. Is because when we were raised by parents who thought they were trying to teach us the very best things for us without giving us the free agency that we had to choose and to look outside of ourselves and see what would be the best thing for us, all of a sudden we have this very narrow view of what our parents think is right instead of going to the source and getting answers for the life we were meant to live. And I love that about you because here's the thing. On my podcast, I've been very transparent about things that have happened in my life, and every single one of them led me to a better idea. When you're like, wait, what? That happened? You all of a sudden are like, what do I do now? Sometimes those experiences cause us to crumble for a little while. You know, the challenges are so intense. Everything we believed to be true was suddenly shattered in a moment. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. So oftentimes my clients are like, my life is falling apart and I don't even know who I am anymore. It is because that's the moment for them to be flat on their backs and finally look up. Finally, like, God, what do I do here? And to go to the one that knows you the best. And so what guidance did you get in that moment of crisis?
I asked my inner soul. I knew there had to be something inside of me that I could trust. I wasn't going to call a parent or a friend to say, what should I do? So it really was a conscious pivot. Like, I got to ask me. So I went inward and I just said, what do I do now? And the thought that popped into my mind was put chicken in a crock pot.
Isn't that funny? How that works?
And I was so quick to pushing it away and thinking,
like, no.
That doesn't make sense. But then I was like, let's experiment. I just asked my inner being to tell me the next step. So either it answered me or it didn't. I will never know unless I experiment. If I have to act on that thought.
So good.
To see, was that a source of truth? Even though my mortal mind was telling me that doesn't make sense. You needed like a really big answer. But I walked into the kitchen and I got chicken out and I'm putting it in the crock pot and I look over and realize I have 5 kids that are going to need to eat dinner today. And I'm in an existential crisis. I'm in shock.
Yeah.
Like, it was the next best idea to keep the family going. It literally was genius. And my mind wasn't on functioning. It was on I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, that was a good idea. Let me keep doing this. I began to live my life just asking the question, what would you have me do now? Or what is needed from me right now? And then it just evolved to saying, what do you want me to do and where do I go? So what and where? And as I started this experiment daily, I was being led to help in all ways, help keeping our business running, help financially providing for my kids, help in how to have conversations with my husband who had not been transparent, and I could have him with compassion and patience. All this help just started coming through. What do you want me to do and where do you want me to go? And the miracle showed up that I realized what I was letting go of was the how and the why. But for 38 years of my life, I had prayed to God asking, how am I going to do this? Or why is this happening to me? And in my experiments, my soul taught me that when you ask how and why questions, they're inherently fearful and doubtful. So you are reaching towards the spirit of truth, towards source, but you're taking the frequency of fear and doubt, and that's why you're crossing. Signals are getting mixed because you cannot pull that in unless you go in with the clarity of what do you want me to do? What am I here for? It is such a faithful and direct and trusting question. And then you get that answer, like, go put chicken in the crock pot. Okay. Sometimes the answers came in and they eclipsed my ability. I don't know how to accomplish the what. So I would say, where do I go to find the people that can teach me or the resources I need? And then that, too, is a very trusting question. You tell me where, I'm going to do it. So I began to follow just those 4 steps. Just ask what or where questions. I would breathe and receive the answer, just taking that moment to take it in, knowing my brain's fighting it. This makes no sense. But I also recognized I had done that through prayer for 38 years, prayed to God, kicked out the answer because it wasn't familiar. So this was just a whole new shift. And I do say that's the moment I came home to myself and realized I have an internal compass. I have an inner voice, and it has been quieted for way too long. I need to turn there every day. And the what and the where pattern led to one of the most amazing miracles. So I practiced that for 3 months.
Sure.
Lots of little things happened. But the one day, a really big one that I thought that I got to write about this someday is I had been told to separate from my husband. And in my upbringing, you don't do that. You're married for time and all eternity. And you have made a covenant. And so my head resisted it. But every time I said, what do you want me to do concerning my marriage? It was very clear.
Yeah.
And finally, I obeyed. And the next thing was, I don't know how to be a single mom. So I went in, what do I do next? And the thought was, you need to go away from town. You need to leave and go on your own and go into nature. And so I just said, where do I go? I didn't have resources, I felt like. And a few days later, a friend called and said, I just bought a home in Maui. Angel, why don't you come visit me? And I thought, hot dog, Maui, you know?
Let's go.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
But the money thing was scarce. And I looked online, how much is a ticket to Maui? It was $590. And instantly I dropped into guilt and shame because I thought, people are helping me feed my kids. People are helping me keep my business going. I have no right to even go use plasma money, or cleaning house money, anything. I don't have a right to do it. And as I dropped into that deep fear and shame, the realm of inspiration shut, and I felt cold, like I had been locked in a cellar.
Yeah.
And I knew something had shifted and said, what happened? And the Spirit said, you dropped into fear. So I repented of my fear and said, I'm very clear that you've told me to leave this location and go spend time in nature. And the where is Maui. And the next day, I got a letter in the mail from the commercial car insurance, because it had to do with our business. Never has this happened. It was a reimbursement check. You overpaid for your business
the price of a ticket to Hawaii.
$590, the dollar amount.
I love that.
I call this the what and where principle of co-creating miracles with God. Ooh. I stick with what and where, and I allow God to deliver the how and the why, and it happens every time. And only that teaching only came through coming home to myself.
You've hit on so many things, because I think we're sisters from another mother, because so many similar circumstances. Like when God speaks, it's super simple. Go put chicken in the crock pot. Just before I came to do this podcast episode with you, I was looking for just a mirror. It was something super simple. I was like, can you help me find that mirror? Because I need to leave like yesterday. And the answer was, go look for your husband's tools for his new shaver. I'm like, that's important right now. But I did. And I opened up my drawer and there's my mirror, right? So when God speaks, it's usually very simple. And I call your brain Controlzilla because she gets in the way. Like she wants to say, no, that's dumb. Or
doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. Let's not do that. And she's like, but how? How are we going to get it done? She worries about the things that haven't happened yet. Right? And so your story illustrates so beautifully that if you just get out of your own way, just go give Controlzilla a snack, like put her down for a nap.
I say go to time out. Yes.
Something else. So you can really listen to your inner guidance system, because it's always talking to you, but we're not always listening. And sometimes it takes, existential crisis for us to finally go, okay, I'm totally out of ideas here and I need some help. When I was going through a divorce, we were just separated. I told my husband, I was like, I need some time. He's like, are you asking me for a divorce? I'm like, I don't know, because belonging to the religion, I was like, can I do that? Like, is that even possible? Like, we're all going to die if I do. I'm going to get struck down by lightning. Something bad is going to happen. And I took 3 months to just go and pray. And this is the first time I took all the hats off and all the belief systems and all the conditioning. And I was like, but who am I to God? And after 3 months of taking that journey, I asked him, or I didn't ask. I was like, okay, I've decided. He's waiting for me to make a decision. It's like, I've decided, and I'd never said the D word. I want a divorce. And like the warmest, most comforting, like a bucket of honey, just washed over me. You know what that feels like.
I do. I'm resonating with that same moment.
And I was
every cell felt it.
Yes. Right? My whole body, starting from the crown of my head, just through to my feet. I was like, really? You're not going to strike me down with lightning? That's the answer? And he said, it's going to be okay. And I felt that answer come through me, which is a channel in which God communicates from my higher self and my spirit. My spirit knew it's going to be okay. Like, this is the journey you're on, and it's unexpected and probably not planned for, because who gets married so they can get a divorce? Like, no one. And I just thought, we're going to figure it out. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how long the trauma is going to last. I don't know how to heal.
Those are the magic words. You have to open up to the I don't know.
Yes.
I just want to say that, because so many people hold to the knowing.
Yes.
I know, and I have to know before I act.
Yeah.
But you are not open to inspiration or ideas greater than your own if you're so stuck. Spirit showed me everything you think you know is a ceiling that's keeping you from God.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I was taught to stand in front of people and I know this is true and I know that is true and I know this is true.
Now I'm recanting everything that I don't know it's true.
How many times you said, I don't know. I love that.
Yeah. And it's in that I don't know that is a new you is born. Like the new confidence to trust that you actually do know.
Yes.
But the answer isn't necessarily you do know way out there, but you do know right now what is needed. So
I say that I learned to forsake the knowing with a small K in my head for the knowing with a capital K from my soul.
Yes.
That knowing where it's a whole body resonance is the one to trust.
so good. So good. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Will you show us your book before we go?
Sure. It's called Soular Evolution, spelled S-O-U-L. Soular Evolution, A Mormon Woman's Transcendent Journey to Love by Angel Lynn. Available on Amazon.
I love that. Okay, I want you to tell us about the business that you created in Cedar City.
Oh, the Healing Arts Festival.
Yes.
That came after this book. Yin on Fire. Yin stands for feminine energy, the yin and the yang. And I just noticed as I was going through my existential crisis that became a spiritual awakening, I kept meeting women that were being called out as well, called into a wilderness of their life. And from ancient studies, that is a pattern. God calls people out of their home and their comforts and their belongings, and he asks them, basically, do you trust me? I'm going to take you on a journey. So I was meeting all these women who were also developing spiritual gifts and healing gifts. The more you learn to come home to yourself and listen and channel,
Thank you.
the more healing in mind, body, heart, and spirit. And I was meeting them all over southern Utah, and I asked God, what would you have me do? And the words, gather your tribe, came up. And I was like, that's an interesting word that I don't use every day. What does it mean? So little by little, it was to collect them and bring them together for a 4-day, 3-night event where these women and men could teach their healing gifts, their healing philosophies, everything from holistic functional medicine to shamans, to yoga practitioners, to different types of counselors. Like, it's a broad range of just people in their zone of genius. Bring them together in one place and invite the community to come so that in one weekend you can be exposed to and participate in healing modalities that you've probably never heard of, never thought to try, maybe never had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And you can just go from workshop to workshop, experience it, interact with the facilitators throughout the weekend. And it's called Yin on Fire. It's about the passion of the feminine energy, healing that energy in men and women, because we all have yin yang energy. And so it's a beautiful place for men and women to come together to work on their healing, whether they think it's a physical need, a mental, emotional, spiritual, or all of the above. And we are going on year 3. It will be held September 18th through the 21st this year. And we had 1,000 people our second year. It's been a wonderful growth. And we consider it a soul family reunion. It's not a festival. It's not like anything else. It's where souls are being drawn together that are on the same journey.
Yeah.
And we just want to have that annual family reunion and build the relationships and share our journey, share what we've learned, share tools and techniques, exchange and trade goods and services. And so we invite anyone to look up online, yinonfire.com, and follow us and find us.
In Cedar City, Utah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have actually seen your event a couple of times, and we both live in the same location, and we've never met before.
my gosh,
We're
I
both
didn't
in
know
St.
that.
George.
I didn't know that. I thought I see you on Zoom, and I think that where does this fabulous lady live?
That's because my phone number looks like spam.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to get together
Oh my gosh, yes.
more. More. So I'm so excited that we got to have this time together. Thank you for being a guest on Guiding You Home and for sharing your book and your stories and your evolution of how you dropped into your own knowledge and your own inner wisdom to become who you are now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. I invite you to leave your feedback and share your aha moments as you listen to this podcast. Also, you can access more information or any of the programs, courses, or worksheets that I've mentioned on these episodes on my website at teresaford.life. Or what I would really love is for you to connect with me on Instagram at teresaford.coaching and on Facebook at Coaching with Teresa Ford, so I can give you more interesting insights and further coaching to help you fulfill the measure of your creation.